Gamescom 2017 is full of surprises and exciting things to see, and VR is one of those things. And today I'm with Breen. You work at HTC, working on the Vive as product manager, right?
Exactly, yep.
And today, just now actually, I saw Fallout 4 in VR, which is amazing, Duck Hunt, and Talos Principle, which is an awesome game. Now, Graham, over the last year of Vive's inception, because it's been about a year and 3 months, right?
Yeah, it's almost reaching a year and a half now. And it's quite interesting. We came to Gamescom last year and Vive was on the market, so we wanted to show people some great experiences and a mix of games. This year's all about showing people some real AAA games. So IP that they know. Fallout 4 is obviously leading the way there. The number of Fallout 4 fans, and we see cosplayers going around Gamescom Fallout 4. We've also Talos Principle from Crow Team, so taking a great fun puzzle game, putting it into VR, which seems to be a very natural home for it. Yeah. Works beautifully. And Duck Season, which is a great, playful, nostalgic throwback. So.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, with the AAA games, we're now starting to see developers dive into the world, rebuild their games for VR and really take advantage of that immersion. For creators especially, it must be amazing because they're seeing their games literally in another dimension. Were you a fan of Fallout VR before it started development?
I have to be honest here, I bought my Xbox because of Fallout 4, so...
That's perfect.
Absolutely.
I bet you've been having quite a lot of fun in Fallout 4.
Absolutely, it was kind of cool. I mean, I said to you when you came out, just the most basic thing, you want to look at your Pip-Boy, what do you do? Well, of course you look at your wrist, it's on your wrist. You're in the game, it's awesome, yeah.
How have you found the advancements with the tech? So obviously you have HTC Vive, and then you have lots of other people creating like gloves and sleeves and other bits and pieces for people to have other body parts tracked. From HTC's perspective, have you thought about officially doing your own gear to support that, or are you focusing more on external third-party people to go, bring what you want, we've got extra kit, you've got new controllers in the works, right? Which I've yet to see.
It's not new controllers for ourselves. Valve showed some at an event previously, the knuckle controllers, but we're really focused on the existing controllers. So in terms of the tracker and what we're doing, it's really about enabling the community. We've got some ideas, but actually the most inspiration comes from the outside community, whether that's people who develop for VR already, or people who have a great idea and put it into VR. And the trackers allows you, like you say, to enable you to follow anything. So whether, for example, in a first-person shooter, attach it to the top of a gun, and that becomes your controller. But actually, we've got some fun examples where you can attach it to, we've made some in the office just playing around. You attach it to a tennis racket, and all of a sudden you're playing tennis, but you're actually holding a real racket. In terms of them coming to market, actually, it's more about inspiring third parties and letting them produce awesome items.
Of course, there's also the ability to play with the HTC Vive now wirelessly, because people have brought a pack for that. Have you tried that yet?
So there's a couple of solutions out there, actually. So earlier this year, a company we've supported through 5X called TPcast announced a wireless solution. At E3, we were also showing one with Intel. So a couple of solutions for wireless. It's amazing. The first thing I did actually was threw a controller in the air and caught it. Purely on the basis, okay, is there going to be latency? Let's check. No, it's not.
That's amazing. I mean, what's the most exciting development that you've seen? I'm sure you've seen quite a few over the last year and a half.
To be fair, it's not about one specific thing. It's just about the fact we've come out of what was originally an awesome product and a great idea. And now, all of a sudden, this is mass. This is something that the average person who comes here to Gamescom, for example, is going to get really excited about. So we've been talking about AAA games for a while, and now it's really happening. So that's kind of got me going. And I think we know that there's a couple announced already, and excitingly, there's others in the pipeline that we obviously can't talk about, but it's looking like a good future.
It's hoping for Half-Life 3 finally in VR. No, that's never going to happen. But my best VR experience so far, because I'm a big Batman fan, I loved it when Rocksteady finally brought Arkham VR to HTC. At least I love PSVR, but with the quality the tracking and the level of immersion, the extra level of immersion you get from the HTC Vive, I was in that world in a different perspective now, because I was like, I can actually move around, things aren't, I'm not blocking the PlayStation camera or anything because we've got the lighthouse tracking. Have you tried that, and if so, what did you think?
Yes, very similar perspective actually. I mean, it's when you see a reflection of yourself, I'm Batman, it's kind of, kind of. And your whole body language changed as you go with it. You really let yourself into the character. Yeah. It's awesome, and that's really about the beauty of VR and what it allows you to do. Sort of achieve things that you can't maybe do in normal life, become a character that you couldn't be if you were playing a normal game, actually living that out. So it's kind of special.
I found that with VR, unlike 3D, which came to the market in TVs, didn't really make an impact and then very quickly left, VR and 4K and things seem here to stay, and with VR it's really gained a standing, I guess, in the market, because not only have you got you guys with the HTC Vive, you've got the Oculus Rift, and you've got PlayStation creating a very accessible entry point for anyone who owns a PlayStation 4. Now, how do you feel about the fact that everyone's going into this collectively, and everyone's going, look, we're helping each other out, we're growing the market, this is fantastic? It's
important, actually, it's really important. One of the nice things has been the dev community, and so we're talking about large developers here. Actually, there's a lot of indie developers as well creating for Vive. And within the dev community, there is a really nice information exchange, supporting each other, learning from each other. And because it's a relatively new genre, actually, some of it's learning by going. So 2 years ago, for example, people were first coming up with ideas of how you could play with teleportation. Now, if you look at the games, it's standard. Teleportation is a default method of movement. And that's because people are not just coming up with something and protecting it, they're actually coming up with something and sharing it, and everyone's building on each other. So what that drives, of course, is better and better content year on year on year. And in terms of the sort of longevity of VR, I mean, you're mentioning, it's about that VR really does bring a completely different solution to a problem. It makes a game much more immersive. If you're using it outside a game, actually, it allows you to achieve things that you just couldn't do without that.
Yeah, I agree, and as I was talking to you before this interview, one of my favorite experiences was Superhot VR, and how the team there rebuilt their game to work in VR, so you're in static places, and it totally changes things, because you're instinctively going into bullet time mode, feeling like Neo from the Matrix, dodging bullets, everything else. Has there been a game recently which has really caught your imagination, you've dived into and gone, bloody hell, I mean, I know VR is good, I'm working on it, but this is really something quite special?
Probably the one, and it was actually a demo, and we're showing it to some people here, ROM extraction. I got absolutely lost in that. We got a build for it, I was in the office, and absolutely lost. I came out of the sort of demo room half an hour later, buzzing. Absolutely, yeah, but it's absolutely brilliant. ROM extraction. Brilliant. There's one other, it's not so much a game, but it's just a really awesome piece of content, and we've also got that here available for people to see. It's Mind Show. I don't know if you've tried it. What it is basically your chance to be creative and create a sort of a play or a scene or a film, and you take on the role of a character. You can play with your facial expressions, you record it, you press record, you make your movements, then you can play it back, and then you can take on the role of another character, and you can set your own interaction. It's something completely different, but it's something that everyone who tries it comes out beaming ear to ear. It's just such fun, yeah.
Brilliant. I dived into VR the other day to play Res, which had just come to the unit, and I found, of course, that the menu had changed, so now you've got your little home bases, so to speak, and within that you can do painting and do quests and everything else, which is really cool. I find it very, very immersive, and how you can go up to your wall, pick your games, it's just another layer of immersion. And how you can also pick environments, so the TARDIS, Portal Room, even places in Derbyshire, so they've got like they've done loads of photos as though you're there. Is there a specific place that you'd like to have as your home hub?
That's a very random question.
The Batcave.
I'm in my life outside of VR, I guess I'm a bit of an outdoor geek, so I'd be at Rossilli looking down the beach. It's a great place to go.
You don't want to just photograph the office and just at home. You're in the office, you're in Slough, you're at work. in VR at home. I think that's going to be a new way for people to maybe work, and that's something I also want to touch upon. Of course, with VR, it's not just games. It's in everywhere. Engineering, the medical sector. That's why I believe it has so much more longevity compared to other tech in the world, because it's not just gamers. It's not just appealing to one thing. Again, what do you think of that and how it's seeped into our world in other ways, engineering, car manufacturing, etc.?
This hit home actually. I had a meeting about education in VR, and in an app it's available called Engage, a learning platform. And there were 6 of us in a meeting. We were in 4 different countries, so somebody in the US, somebody in Asia, somebody in France, I was in the UK. And we stood on the surface of Mars for this meeting. And it sounds ridiculous. It was exactly. So 6 people in 4 countries on the surface of Mars for a meeting. But it was actually, we were discussing something serious, and it's a serious business discussion, but in a completely different way and different interaction. And because you're seeing the body and you're actually addressing somebody, it's something that you can never achieve on the phone. We've all sort of sat on the phone, somebody long distance, and you go, but actually, when you're addressing somebody, it's absolutely different, the interaction, and as a result what comes out of that is much more productive, and how you can sort of build relationships with people. It's just one example, but as a tool for connecting across the globe, it's awesome.
I think, as you're saying, when connecting with people and seeing other people in a VR space, Star Trek Bridge Crew is one that struck me. Even just waiting in the lobby, I was on, and the fact it works across Vive, Oculus, and PSVR. It doesn't matter what platform you're on, which is even better. And you sit down, you've got your headset on, all of a sudden somebody else is opposite you, and the voice chat I found was like really accurate. I was like, this is a bit weird. I am in a VR game. There's someone over there, someone opening a bottle of water with a hand going like this whilst they're drinking. And it is things like that, and also games which add even the tiniest of details. Like you're thinking subconsciously, oh, I want to do that. I want to pick up this, or I want to open that, and then it does it. And
I mean, games, we know a lot of the best games are pretty social. It's multiplayer. People love multiplayer games because it's bringing a couple of elements together. Yes, great gameplay, but also the ability to share that with someone, preferably beat someone, who knows. VR, we've seen first examples actually well over a year ago now, but it's just become standard. Multiplayer games are fully out there, and as you mentioned, Star Trek Bridge Crew is a great example, and that's also taking sort of a great example of a serious studio taking existing IP, taking a very well-known product, and it's something that people love, Star Trek. So the ability to step into that world, amazing.
Well, thanks for talking with me today. I look forward to the developments of VR in the near future and beyond, because it can only go up in my perspective. I'm sure we'll see more heavy-hitting publishers bringing their well-known titles to VR in new ways. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do with that.
It is. It's a very exciting time for us across a few layers at the moment. I mean, great content like we're just talking about here, the AAA content we're showing. Also this week with the news actually that we're taking the price of Vive down. So now £599, €699. Again, making it more accessible to people. We're heading into sort of the busiest trading quarter of the year. So again, more and more people hopefully are going to get into VR, and they've got the content and the great games that will pull them in there. And when they try it, you never go back. It's just awesome.